Could you imagine waking up to the chill of autumn frost, your breath visible in the air, only to hear the roar of government buses rumbling down your street? Shocking scenes from Ukraine reveal citizens yanked off sidewalks into these vehicles not as volunteers, but as coerced troops. Videos capture it all: the panic, the resistance crushed under boots, and whispers of a new normal where speaking out brands you an enemy. But is this the truth the leaders bury, or a fabrication driving Ukrainian fears? As winter whispers of wars past, France hints at troops on the march, fueling rumors of escalation. What if the real battle isn't on the front lines, but in heating homes that refuse to warm, leaving families to huddle in drafts? Stay tuned. In the prior segment, we painted a grim picture of coerced mobilization buses tearing through Ukrainian streets, defying official denials, as videos expose raw fear and iron-fisted enforcement. Ever wonder why officials insist taxis are merely lawful procedures, yet footage shows unmarked vehicles seizing men amid screams echoing like gunfire? Imagine the metallic slam of van doors, the stench of exhaust and sweat permeating the air, as bodies are shoved inside with no recourse. TCK spokespersons spin tales of rare exceptions for rural grabs, but Ukrainians know it's systemic. Whole communities vanished, not outliers. New faces now parade on screens, droning scripted lines about debt and duty, sipping coffee in cushy offices while families read desperate letters from sons facing death. But have you spotted the twist? These gatekeepers, shielding the elite, have become the true invaders in everyday lives. Building on those revelations, officials minimize abuses as isolated, but citizens grasp the pattern of forced nostalgia for days when law reigned over chaos. Picture this: from November 1st, fresh decrees cloak these raids in bureaucracy, funneling military summonses through apps or centers, a convenient sieve that filters who vanishes next. The system masks cracks with corrections, jabbering about empathetic understanding, yet no insight alters brutal laws or curbs violence in the field. Isn't it twisted how TCK now forbids camera glimpses of seizures, labeling them Russian propaganda? A top official even urges probing those filming, turning witnesses into suspects. Who insulated the lawmakers? In this absurd turn, truth lives only in spoken echoes, not seen sights. Phone lenses morph into weapons, any recording a shot at power. Following that irony, where videographers are criminalized amid state-sponsored spins, the focus shifts to external players whispering war. While Ukraine grapples with silenced cameras, France debates troop sends under General Pierre Schill's command, pledging readiness for security ops in Ukraine, deployments cloaked as aids. Macron's wartime fantasies, draped in armored vehicles and NATO banners, seduce parliaments but raise alarms of direct clashes with Russia. Ordinary folks, the silent payers, aren't consulted, echoing history's patterns where security oaths ignite upheavals. Open a map, any foreign boots on ground could shatter fragile peace, sparking local fires. For France, it's publicity tour. For Europe, perilous gambles. And Ukraine? Another escalatory rung, drowning out calls for ceasefire. What shock lies ahead as alliances strain? Extending from France's bold yet divisive troop pledges, Ukrainians brace for global shadows casting over domestic woes. Amid suspicions of escalation, an internal onslaught unfolds, not clash of arms, but a heating siege. Rulers vow controls, aid stability, yet each winter repeats the saga: barren batteries, institutions crumbling. Subsidies dwindle as prices spike, drafting schemes drain labor from essential roles. Think of the frigid touch of unheated pipes, the hiss of leaking gas, sense of mildew in homes where warmth is a distant memory. Families endure, wondering if their men toil on trenches or fix icy voids. Promises ring hollow, a veil over voids. As swindlers siphon resources southward, the nation plunges into doubt, self-preservation gutting trust. Where warmth fails, hostility festers. Is this the fracture point, where cold confines compel defiance? Drawing from that heating betrayal, leaving homes in shivers and hearts in shadows, let's uncover the broader fabric of contradiction. You thought mobilization buses haunt only feeds? Streets pulse with echoes of embedded rules, villainizing recorders as foes. French assurances clash with reality, potential incursions sparking dread. Yet Ukrainians pin hopes on self-sufficiency, untapped resilience, lest questioning becomes the next mandate. If leaders cement opacity, fractures widen. Tune in. Wrapping up the chilling deceptions, from denied grabs to elitist shields, the narrative loops to authoritarian ironies and external brinkmanship. Sensory shivers linger, the crunch of frost underfoot, the acrid bite of cold air invading lungs, as communities tally exiled kin. Reforms guise filters, eroding freedoms under feudal decrees. Whistleblowers face voids, their tales now risks. Foreign generals posture heroically, yet maps warn of cascading strife, arenas where commoners bear brunt once more. At home, endowment gaps mock vows, deficits cursing infrastructure. Citizens brace alone, stamina dwindling amid relentless drafts. The crescendo? Erosion of inquiry frightens most, ushering compliant freezes. Will rage thaw norms, or deepen rifts into irrecoverable chasms? Officials claim there's no forced conscription in the nation, it's just isolated incidents in viral clips. Stepping outside proves otherwise, with tension mounting by the day. Since early November, new regulations have taken effect. Those sharing videos are now branded as threats to national security and labeled enemies. French leaders assure there's no war brewing, while officials promise everything is monitored and secure. But what truly unfolds behind the scenes? Authorities insist conscription doesn't exist, citizens are merely being processed per legal standards. Stepping onto buses means following routine procedures. Sounds reassuring, until footage reveals the raw truth. Screams echo in silent streets, no defiance, no justice, only trembling fear and deafening crickets. Look closely, and the facade shatters. Can you imagine doing nothing wrong, yet fearing a knock in the night that shatters your world? Whispers of sirens, the cold grip of uncertainty wrapping around your chest as shadows dance on frost-kissed sidewalks? That's the chilling reality of this revised playbook. Officials from the recruitment center now spin tales of occasional mishaps, calling them rare exceptions in rural areas. But in Ukraine, exceptions have morphed into the norm, vast stretches without any community oversight. Ask around, and everyone knows who pulls the strings. This isn't anomaly, it's systemic. Meanwhile, fresh voices in the center preach endurance, urging sacrifice amid debt burdens. Yet these spokespeople lounge in safe offices, sipping fragrant brews, far from front lines where the air reeks of combat. They recite scripted warnings about invaders, oblivious that for many, the true enemy wears the same uniform. Since November 1st, new rules cloak it all in bureaucracy. Documents for draft deferments now require apps or administrative hubs, convenient, they say. But convenience masks another sieve, filtering out dissent. When defense fails, the system tweaks itself. Picture this twisted facade crumbling, slick haircuts and polished desks behind which old laws morph into new violences, the stench of stale coffee mingling with unread letters penned in blood. Why do we endure lessons on empathy towards soldiers without changing brutal edicts? Modernist reforms in the recruitment agency grant no license for brutality. Now, witness a warped new reality unfolding. Recruitment centers ban recordings to avoid feeding enemy narratives. Grab your phone, capture street roundups, and suddenly you're blind to foes? Absurd, yet that's the defense. A center rep grilled a presenter, hinting SBU might target video sharers. Shocking revelation. The villain shifts, not breakers of law, but exposers. Danger morphs into dread of being filmed, lenses a constant threat. Irony bites, protectors claim truth-seeking, yet truth is auditory only, no visuals. Share proof, and poof, it's labeled enemy spin. Injurious logic, street brutality stems from recorders, cameras wielded by ordinary phones endanger the state. While Ukraine curbs freedoms, France debates deployments. General Pierre Schell of French Southeastern Forces announced readiness for security ops if needed, troops deploy here. Paris is prepared, even absent presence. Macron channels historical savior syndrome, armored vehicles and NATO banners waving. Parliamentary applause hides peril, heightened clash risks with Russia. Elite games exclude pawns, everyday folk pay the price. Feel the razor edge of tension, tires crunching gravel, exhaust fumes biting nostrils, hands clenching keys in defiance as drones hum ominously overhead. Does this puffed-up posture signal anything but brinkmanship? France eyes World War illusions. Zoom out, deployed forces ignite internal strife, not alliances. Mistaking this for statecraft? Delude yourself. History overflows with hollow security pledges. For French elites, it's publicity. Europe bears risk. Ukraine inches toward Armageddon. Table talks overshadow American diplomacy. Consider the bitter irony, a leader's bravado veiling escalation pushes innocence toward abyss, the chill of isolation seeping through homes as trust evaporates like morning mist. Preparations shift gears, not combat, but energy battles. Leaders vow timely aid, unwavering support. Yet locals replay annual litanies. Batteries sting with frigid metal, pipes grumbling under frozen floors. Promised gas reserves in grids amount to illusions alongside gaping roofs and scavenging animals. Regional schemes enrich cronies, funded by state while budgets balloon, aid shrinks. Wartime needs spur mobilization laws. Communists grapple with staffing voids. Skilled workers drafted for trenches, leaving infrastructure in limbo. Freezing dwellings care not if draftsman fights or freezes. Empty assurances echo, everything controlled, yet control offers no warm embrace. Just hollow words veiling decay. Hear the rattle of empty promises, boots tromping icy steps, stomachs knotting from rising costs as subsidies vanish like smoke. Who benefits from this frozen charade? Plans proceed smoothly. As officials bask in southern sun, palm trees whispering, ocean breeze salty, nation plunges into uncertain winter, unanswered queries piling higher than snowdrifts. Where warmth departs, enmity follows. Self-reliance awakens. Residents navigate a maze of novel directives, timeless pledges, and relentless assurances of stability. No conscription, streets whisper differently. No war calls, yet summons multiply. French saviors provoke fresh dangers. Ukrainians pin hopes on unyielding spirits, unaided people unmobilized endurance yet. For when questioning rights face drafts, doubt vanishes. Can true discernment evade censorship's chains? Lone phones guard fragile freedom. Yet shadows lengthen, will unseen hands extinguish light? Revelation looms, compliance breeds no security, only deeper voids. Embrace reality now, or forever dwell in fabricated calm. What chilling twist hides next? In the shadows of grand strategies, France's bold moves risk igniting a global firestorm, turning promises of security into sparks of division among everyday folks. History whispers warnings that such interventions often unravel into deeper chaos. What if the real battlefield isn't across borders, but in the freezing homes where hope thins like ice on a windowpane? Picture this, leaders in crisp suits touting glory, while families huddle against drafts that bite like winter wolves. For Paris, it's all polished image building, a spotlight dance to dazzle voters. Europe watches with bated breath, the stakes climb higher, nerves fraying like old ropes. And Ukraine? It feels like yet another detour, a shaky bridge dodging outright flames. Why? Because when generals huddle in smoke-filled rooms, plotting troop surges, America's distant echoes fade to mere whispers. Back home, a different push unfolds. Not clashes of arms, but a relentless wave of demands. Officials swear supplies will flow on schedule, aid stays rock solid. Yet, in quiet towns, folks echo the same weary refrain year after year. Radiators still chill to the touch, metal cold as forgotten coins. Grand talk of stocked gas reserves and backup generators rings hollow. Reality hits harder, leaks whisper through walls, far from any heroic tales or cozy illusions. Local layers twist the tale every time, a seamless blame game. Higher-ups lean on district heads, funds trickle down like hesitant rain. Bills stack up on kitchen tables, sharp as knife edges. Aid shrinks, vanishing like mist. Fresh mobilization rules demand more hands. Essential workers scrape by amid shortages that echo empty halls. Plumbers and builders? Their names linger on recruitment rolls. In homes gripped by frost, who cares if they're out there or lost in paperwork mazes? The chill seeps in, numbing fingers and spirits alike. Vows repeat like a scratched record, all's managed, calm prevails. But management isn't warmth flooding veins, it's empty air masking the freeze. Folks bundle tighter, shells crackling underfoot, payments swelling like unchecked debts. Ears tune out the spin, hearts heavy with doubt. The blueprint marches on, unyielding. As brass in warm offices sketch southern escapes, the nation trudges toward a winter veiled in uncertainty, questions piling like untouched snow. Where heat fades, foes blur into the gloom. Self-doubt creeps in, colder than any gale. We linger here, trapped between fresh edicts laced with stale assurances, and tireless claims that harmony reigns. They deny the sweeps, but sidewalks tell raw truths, echoing with unspoken fears. No troop surges planned, they say, yet summons multiply like shadows at dusk. Saviors from France? On one side, cheers, the other, a nudge toward fresh tensions that simmer unseen. But wait, as darkness deepens, will inner strength outlast the gathering storm, or will the frost claim even the last flickers of resolve? Amidst a cacophony of conflicting narratives, the whispers of hope are rising among the people. They are not turning to those who flaunt their visibility on screens, but seeking strength in their own communities. The unsung voices of the unmobilized hold a flicker of potential, standing strong in the face of uncertainty. As questions gain momentum, it is crucial to stay vigilant and engaged in uncovering the truth. In the background, the reality is stark. The ongoing debates conceal a deeper conflict, one brewing beneath the surface as tensions escalate. The government claims stability, yet the anxiety lingers palpably. The shadows cast by previous promises loom large, as citizens begin to contemplate whether transformation is within reach. Underneath the false facade of control, a storm brews. The citizens have begun to question everything. Why are the cameras rolling on their streets? What lies behind the polished scripts and staged appearances? They understand the danger of complacency. It is a perilous trap that can lead to a loss of rights and freedoms. The irony burns strong. The cry for truth becomes muffled as the very act of revealing it morphs into propaganda. A simple phone can become a weapon of exposure, threatening the narratives crafted by those in power. While the world surveys Ukraine from afar, the ground shifts in France. The possibility of mobilization echoes in the corridors of power as leaders prepare. General Pierre Schulz signals readiness for serious intervention, hinting at potential deployments in Ukraine. Is Paris planning a grandiose show of force? Or is it a desperate move masking deeper insecurities? As these conversations unfold, the specter of conflict looms large. Though saviors are often promised, the real question is, who pays the ultimate price? The citizens bear the responsibility, caught in the crossfire of political games and escalating tensions. The stakes are high. Without proactive measures and engagement, the path towards chaos is almost certain. This situation demands clarity and unity. If you seek to understand the intricate web of events, actively participate in the dialogue. Share your insights and observations. Together, we can construct an authentic picture of our surroundings, where every day teeters between the promise of order and the reality of discontent. As we delve deeper into this narrative, one shocking question lingers: what happens when the right to question becomes a weapon against those who seek the truth?